'Tis the season to go walking in a winter wonderland, to await in anticipation the arrival of that jolly, happy soul to come down from his incredibly inhospitable home at the North Pole. Sitting at the center of the Arctic Ocean on the top of the world, the home of Old Saint Nick is perhaps one of the most fantasized places based on an actual geographic point. But for every north, there is a south, and at the bottom of the world, the South Pole may not have an associated holiday, but is inhabited by its own famously fluffy, chubby resident. Aw, just like at the North Pole, right? Wrong! At a glance, either end of the Earth may seem cut from the same cloth. However, upon closer inspection, there is quite a lot of variation. Variation? Between two cold places covered in ice at each end of the Earth? What variation, you may ask? Well, let's find out. For starters, Santa's workshop is not even on solid land. The North Pole is situated in the middle of the Arctic Ocean, with a more or less permanent ice presence throughout the year. In spring and summer, the ice sheets retreat to a minimum range before returning with winter. Surrounding it are the northernmost points of the continents of Asia, Europe, and North America, with the territorial waters of Canada, Norway, Greenland, Russia, and the United States within the vicinity. The South Pole, by contrast, has its own continent of Antarctica, with solid land beneath the miles of ice sheets, and the closest neighbor being the literal southern tip of South America. And whilst the Antarctic Treaty gives a handful of countries the right to make a territorial claim to the continent, realistically, everyone has agreed to leave Antarctica to the advent of scientific purposes as opposed to economic, political, or military advances. Part of that may also be due to the fact that the South Pole has historically not supported a permanent human population. Aside from visiting whalers and explorers, no one even had reason to settle the continent. The isolation, extreme temperatures, harsh weather, lack of ready access to shelter, water, or food make this part of the world almost the antithesis of the conditions necessary for human habitation. Despite the Arctic also possessing an extreme and harsh environment, people have found a way to eke out a living on the fringes for centuries. Various nomadic groups have inhabited the vast emptiness of Siberia. The Sami people herded reindeer in northern Finland, Sweden, and Norway. The descendants of the Norse Vikings make up the Icelanders and the Norwegians on Svalbard today, and Inuit peoples have been hunting seals and whales from the northern coasts of Alaska to Greenland since the Ice Age. And speaking of the denizens of the poles, the animals which inhabit each end of the Earth come in different varieties as well. There are the types of animals which can be found at both poles, namely whales and seabirds. However, they are often completely different species filling different niches. Orcas can be found at both poles, but smaller toothed whales such as belugas with narwhals and the massive bowhead whale are found only around the Arctic Ocean. The species of seal are also different from one another, with hooded, harp, and ringed seals around the Arctic, and crab-eater, Weddell, elephant, and leopard seals dwelling around the Antarctic. Then there are the animals which neither pole have in common. Around the Arctic, walruses forage for mollusks along the seafloor, whilst one of the largest sharks in the world, the Greenland shark, hunts in the cold depths. On the land, the largest terrestrial carnivore, the polar bear, prowls the ice in search of seals, with opportunistic Arctic foxes camouflaged in the environment, and herds of muskoxen and caribou roam the tundra. By contrast, Antarctica has no permanent land animals. The most prominent type of animal one can find on land in this lost continent are penguins, and although bears may not be present around here, leopard seals are more than happy to fill the role, hunting these birds in the ocean, and on land, skuas and greater petrels swoop down and can snatch a penguin chick, or even on occasion a full-grown adult. In a final bit of so similar yet so different, both poles experience the phenomena of the midnight sun, in which the tilt of the Earth on its axis means that the sun barely sets during the summer season, with the reverse being protracted darkness during the winter. And the lights of the aurora from the collision of protons and electrons from the sun into the Earth's upper atmosphere create a dazzling display of light to fill the hearts and minds of any who witness it long after the event has passed. But given their opposite positions at each end of the planet, perhaps it's not surprising that the timing of the seasons for each of them is also the opposite, with winter in the North Pole coinciding with what those of us in North America and Eurasia are accustomed to, while simultaneously the South Pole is enjoying its summer months alongside Australia and South America. And there you have it, two parts of the world which seem so similar and yet have enough qualities to make each unique from the other. And remember, whilst indeed Santa can find polar bears and reindeer around his home, penguins are all by their lonesome down at the south. This is your resident Chrome Sealot, signing off.